Tom, welcome to the LinkedIn studio.
Ty, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
So great to have you. And we've spent quite a bit of time together over the past couple days.
Lots of time. 2 full days in a windowless room. You get to know someone pretty well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've had the honor of serving as judges for the Creative B2B Lions. This is the 70th year anniversary of Cannes Lions Festival of International Creativity, right?
Yeah.
And it's the 2nd year of the Creative B2B Lions. So last year was the first year, and I really wanted to get into it because this is an important year, as all the other years will be, but there's some special things to think about coming off of the first year of an award like this.
For sure, yeah.
Let's start by talking a little bit about the process. So we judged quite a bit of ads over the starting a couple months back. So tell us a little bit about the process, and I'll share a little bit as well, because you were part of the jury for Creative B2B last year as well. So tell us about how the process has been, and perhaps maybe a little bit about what you noticed between the entries last year and this year.
Well, sure. You know, I thought a lot about entries last year and this year, but to start with the process, you know, I think that which is quite similar to last year in that, you know, we as a jury came together very early on and had the chance to talk about what our process should be and how we should be thinking, what we should be thinking about as we judge the B2B category in only its 2nd year after 70 years of Cannes, 2 years of B2B. And what message we want to send to the entire B2B industry, to the entire marketing industry. And so I think we were very intentional about marking the progress of B2B and having a real sense of how far we've come and how far yet we have to go. So, but in terms of the process, you know, there was just a huge amount of judging. Well, I don't have to tell you.
Lots of ads to review.
Hundreds. And very thoughtful submissions, detailed, rich submissions, and working through that individually before we came together as a jury team was so interesting. You know, we all formed our opinions, and then we shared our opinions, and some of our opinions changed when we had the chance to discuss the work.
Yeah, yeah. Hundreds of entries.
Hundreds.
Down to a short list. Down to some winners as well, and a wonderful process and a lot of discussion in the room. So let's actually get to the discussion, because I'm excited about the caliber of work we saw this year, and I imagine what it will be in 5, 10, 15 years as we mark this. So what were some of the themes that, and let's talk about some of the themes we noticed running through the entries this year.
So I think for me there were a few really important themes, and I think one of the themes and the word that I'm latching onto as I think about the work, and I think about the work especially that meddled at the highest levels, was quite audacious.
Absolutely.
And I love that word, and the audacity of some of the thinking, the bigness of some of the ideas, the scale, the magnitude, just evidenced the level of B2B creativity and what's possible in the category, and it was super exciting. I also thought the internationality of the work, so the diversity from a geographic standpoint. If I recall the data points correctly, it's something like 36 countries agencies, clients from 36 countries submitted, and I think 7 countries shared in the medals. So I think that we had the Grand Prix from Brazil, for example. Germany was represented. Many places around the world were represented, and so that was exciting to see. Because diversity of thinking, diversity of approaches, cultural diversity,
very diverse as well.
Very much so, totally. So I thought that was super cool. Also, another thing is sort of the whole conversation, and this swirls around B2B a lot. B2B. B2C, B2B2C, B2C to B. And a couple of the winners who did very good work, for example, Heineken, Heinz, Kraft Heinz, really good work. And I think a lot of us in the B2B world might say, oh, is that really B2B? But when you look at the entries, it's really B2B. And I think what's exciting is that the brands that are generally known as consumer brands have huge B2B businesses, and they're seeing the creative B2B Lions as an aperture for them to project their brands into the B2B space. So I think that's very, very interesting.
I thought it was fascinating too. I mean, you think about all the different angles that when we saw all of the wonderful entries from Heineken, Heinz, all of the different ways they're looking to serve their audiences, whether it's bar owners or whether it's restaurants, and you recognize how much B2B is actually in what people would traditionally think are B2C brands.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
You know, B2B it's kind of everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Yeah, and I love what you said about our Grand Prix, B3, big, bold, audacious campaign.
Yeah.
You know, bringing attention to an issue, a current issue of today that we all care about, climate change.
Muito prazer. Nós somos a Terra. Há bilhões de anos no mercado, Terra vem oferecendo produtos e serviços exclusivos no seu segmento. Invista na Terra. Oportunidade como essa só aparece de bilhões em bilhões de anos.
You know, B2B has what I refer to as systemic power. So B2B can move mountains. And I think that a stock exchange, B3, working in partnership with the UN Compact to create the first IPOing the planet Earth. Like, how's that for an audacious idea? To compel other businesses to become part of the global compact. Just so powerful, so well executed. The craft was magnificent. The idea was magnificent. It was just. I don't know how you felt when you first saw that, but
it stood out to me from the very beginning.
Very beginning. I still get goosebumps when I think about it and talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it sends a message, and also it brings urgency by painting something that people are, you know, human behavior. We're not always connected to these big problems that may feel overwhelming, but to frame it in a business and finance perspective, to make it more connectable, I thought was amazing.
Yeah, and to recast the conversation about sustainability and climate change and other aspects of the world's health ultimately.
Yes.
In business language, and that's what that was about. And so it was so brilliantly conceived and brilliantly done. I loved it.
Me too. Me too. Let's talk about Intel a little bit as well. So going back to what you said about B2B being a driver of change, transformation, solving big problems. You know, let's talk about Intel and certified human.
Deepfake videos are everywhere now. Fortunately, Intel is developing several solutions to detect deepfakes in real time, like the one you are seeing right now.
Did it grab you from the beginning?
Right from the beginning. You know, it's almost how could it not? So deepfake, it's on everybody's mind. We're coming up to another cycle of huge elections, impactful, influential elections that will shape the next number of years in the US and around the world. And deepfakes, it's such a thing everywhere. And it seems uncontrollable, especially AI-powered, AI-driven, the dark side of AI. And Intel, with certified human, has a solution at scale. That's B2B also, right? When they talk about systemic impact, a way to identify, stop deepfakes from happening in the world. Like, how powerful is that? And what a great idea from a creative and campaign standpoint, but also as a marker of Intel's innovation. And I think that's the business case for that.
That was incredible to see, because they're known for microchips, but to see their goal of telling a story where we do more than that. It gives them that category optionality as well that I love to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's you know, you like to think about the different criteria. You're judging strategy, you're judging results, you're judging the idea and the execution in between that. But you know, when you're judging, if it just gets you, you know, I mean, if it just gets you.
And we're going to talk more about just gets you.
Yeah, totally.
So how about big, bold B2B as well? So Workday Rockstar. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was laughing.
Hey, corporate types, will you stop calling each other rock stars?
You're a rock star. You are a rock star.
Rock stars, please. We know that using Workday for finance and HR makes you great at your job.
That don't make you a rock star.
Yeah.
You want to describe it a little bit? Did it get you?
Well, of course
Yeah.
it did. And you know, I'm a football fan, U.S. football fan, and so and like everyone else in our business, we watch for the game, but we watch for the ads as much as we watch for the game. And to see Workday, enterprise software, you know, like serious, hardcore B2B enterprise software, go big on the Super Bowl, and to do it with that much creative energy, exuberance. The use of humor as a creative strategy there, and so well executed and hysterical, and just to see Ozzy Osbourne in a
That was hilarious.
Oh my God, it was hilarious.
Yeah, so we had
Joan Jett,
yeah, all of these folks, amazing. Because in the workplace, we're known for saying you're a rock star, you're a rock star, and then you have these real rock stars coming in saying, no, wait.
Yeah.
We are.
And you know, it's such a simple idea, you know, and most great ideas are pretty simple in terms of but to land it, you know, it went for Kraft, right? So it won gold for Kraft, and the craft of creating that spot and managing 5 huge personalities like that to create this just fantastic experience for the viewers, and then the way it was amplified via social, via their own employee internal engagement, their sales organization, you know, real B2B. And just again, exemplary work.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Any silvers or bronzes that you want to give a shout out to that folks should take a look at?
Well, I think there's one that you're going to bring up, so I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, and this actually goes to my next question. You know, and we'll talk about it because I think there were so many. It was hard.
It's hard.
In there,
yeah,
right?
It's hard
to get to where we, you know, there's so much good work.
Yeah. So you go from nearly 500 entries here overall to fewer than 50 shortlists to 16 medals. The process of going from there to there is so hard.
It is.
Because there's so much worthy work.
I knew that last day was going to be a little bit
intense.
Yes. But I want to give a shout out to Flock, who was
I
was going to give a shout out to Flock. I loved it. So, you know, typically in that industry, not a lot of bold, creative. I mean, we're starting to see it now.
Are you saying that the freight industry is not known for breakthrough humorous
not typically
work?
thinking of, you know, exciting, interesting. I thought they did a fantastic job. They started with an insight that most trucks run with empty space.
Yeah.
And that, you know,
Usually
things tend to
inefficient.
get broken up, inefficient. They defined some new terms, and apologize for my language, but ton and ton.
Load.
Sorry,
trying to correct you.
No, thank you.
Loads and to be clear.
Loads and loads to describe how a truck is filled. That just
I think it's 2 loads or 3 loads equal a
load.
I think
yes,
so. Yeah.
Yes, and I thought it just grabbed you.
So here's a cultural difference. When you think about cultural differences, so you know the Americans in the room, the jury room, we're like, oh, we love that. It's so a little bit over the top.
True.
And we don't mind throwing those words around, and that's kind of what we do. And some of our the other judges, particularly our European counterparts, who are brilliant, all of them brilliant, were a little bit like, it's so American, and so it was funny to see that.
But that's what it's all about.
That's
what it's all about. That discussion and the tension in the conversations.
But I think the big point there that we would agree on is that that Flock, Orlando Beza, Flock, you know, they took a chance. So in a category, they took a chance, and they went to their stakeholders within their company and said, we want to do something as irreverent as this.
Yeah.
Because we think it will both break through. We've done our homework, we've done our research, we've exposed the idea to our audience. They love it. They're not offended by it. They love it. and let's go for it because we will absolutely break through and it will absolutely be effective.
Yeah,
It was.
and I'd like to see more of that.
We
as
need
well.
to see more of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't know this, but each judge is able to bring back an entry as well. I'm wondering if was there anything that was it in there that you think should have been there, or what do you think? Anything to point out?
Well, it's hard, but there's for me there is one
Okay.
that I wish I had brought back.
Okay.
And thinking about it, but there's a company called Dassault System, so
Okay.
French-based global company, and they do a lot of work in the realm of digital experiences. So they'll work with the engineering industry, or they'll work with the architectural industry or the construction industry to create digital twins, so digital environments that mimic the real world. But you can do things very efficiently in a digital environment. So if you're envisioning a building, you can prototype things, and you can design things, and you can iterate, which would be very hard, time-consuming, and costly to do in the analog world. Anyway, that's Dassault. But they did a project where they imagined that they were designing and constructing the Eiffel Tower today.
Yes.
And they did it in a digital environment so that it was a sustainable, contributing to the environment, not taking away from the environment, but also contributing to how work is done and how people interact today. And it was beautiful. It was just stunning what they imagined. And so to demonstrate
It was
their
gorgeous.
platform,
I remember
it was
that
gorgeous.
one.
So that's one for me.
Absolutely gorgeous. One that I would have brought back that I didn't get a chance to bring back was the cow and egret. And I just like shipping. It must be shipping and freight for me, but it was a powerful use of characters, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was
I really
hilarious.
liked that.
Great campaign.
Yes. So we didn't, as we were saying, we didn't always agree on everything as judges. Was there any particular topic or piece of creative that stood out to you in terms of like maybe something a little bit more contentious, or something that we spent quite a bit of time discussing?
Well, I think actually, even though it meddled, Flock is a good example.
That's true.
Where
That's true.
there were some of us who thought that it might have meddled higher.
Right.
And there were some of us who thought that a short list was enough and it shouldn't have meddled at all. And I think that it goes back to, we each have our own strong opinions about things, and we have very talented people on the jury who are highly
Representing
accomplished.
for all sorts of spaces when it
Client
comes
side,
to B2B.
agency
Yes.
side, B2B agencies, more hybrid or global creative agencies that have B2B but have as much or more B2C. So this range of inputs and thoughts about it. And so I thought it was a really valuable conversation. But it got a little, we were going back and forth on that one quite a lot.
Right.
How about you?
Yes. One thing that I kept going back to Pantone's Magentaverse.
How did they know again?
I know. You knew I was going to talk about that one because I thought it was gorgeous. And part of the discussion was, how much does a brand need to define the meaning of something versus it just grabbing you and being. But it was also about the use of AI and what levels of that we needed to see as judges as well. So I get that. That was a point of discussion. In the room as well.
I was supportive of that entry also, as you know,
Absolutely.
and I think we were in a minority. Clearly, you and I were in a minority because we were struck by just how visceral it was,
Visually stunning,
and the emotion. We derived our own emotion and our own takeaway from it.
Right.
And I think some of our peers thought that it didn't express a specific and strong enough idea.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But great work nonetheless. Great work nonetheless. Okay.
So we're getting to the close here. Let's close with some industry advice, Tom. So, what do you think will shape the industry going forward? And what would you like to see? What would you like to see more of next year in the entries?
So, if audacious was my sort of word of B2B Lions in Cannes this year, if it is, I think my thought is that this is B2B's decade. And I think that if we imagine that this is B2B's decade, and we had Cannes last year, but really, let's say it started on stage last night, and we had audacious ideas, we had big, bold ideas, we had big bets, we had hugely meaningful work that has systemic impact on the world. It's about elevating our creative thinking in the interest of elevating our effectiveness. And I think B2B, B2B marketers, B2B agencies, B2B brands, we do a great job of working the brand to demand spectrum, and we do a great job of really contributing to the commercial success of our businesses. And I think our next frontier is really this uncharted creative territory. And I think that it's the biggest single opportunity in B2B.
We agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, B3 got
Yes,
there, and
yes.
it will be to the benefit of their business and their brand. And
Right.
and Workday got there, you know, and so and Intel got there, and I think let's all get there, you know, let's get there, and it'll get harder and harder and harder and harder to medal and win in the B2B category again. I think that's our future.
I agree. I'm really proud of what I saw. I'm really proud of B2B and where we are today. And I also have to say it was an honor to serve alongside you and the wonderful judges as well.
Same.
Yes,
Total
thank you.
honor. It was like an experience of a lifetime, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to extend some thank yous as we close out here. So a massive thank you to our jury president, Tom Stein, and our fellow judges who we want to give a shout out to as well, Anna, Bass, and Disa, Zoe, Felipe, Farouk, Siska, and TJ. Thank you all. And trust me when I say, if you're going to spend 2 days locked in a room with your phone tucked away talking about creative marketing, those are the amazing individuals you want by your side. So a lot of respect to our peers on this mission. It's been an incredible journey alongside these remarkable individuals. So thank you once again, Tom, for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Ty, for having me here, but also to be my co-conspirator in the jury room.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was so much fun. So valuable.
Yes, a great deal of fun. Thank you so much.